Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Cancer. If Cancer is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, whew. Drop that. All right. Let's see what these tea leaves have to say for your message today, Cancer. Okay. I hope you guys are all doing well. We are just getting over our sicknesses here. It's slow going, though. Every day I think we're just about to get over it and it just doesn't seem to want to go. Okay, so we have some really interesting formations here, and I want to look at the heart first. I always point out the hearts first. So this one is kind of in that emotional, psychic, emotional, psychic, and consciousness area in the bowl. I'm so sorry. My brain is just, this cold medicine and all the tea I've been drinking, I just feel a little hazy. Okay, so it's in this space. I think this is somebody that you've been thinking about. I don't think that this is necessarily kind of like the biggest thing going on in your life. I think that this seems like a consistent relationship. It's not huge, but I think it's important. Okay, so it's not taking over the whole bowl. So that leads me to believe that this is something that is kind of stable. It feels like you feel like there's consistency there. And it's just kind of a solid thing happening in your life. It's, you know, kind of being woven into the fabric of how you're existing, okay? So I think that's a beautiful, you know, enduring kind of love. This doesn't have to be romantic. It could be platonic. It could be family. It could be somebody even, you know, that you work with or a good friend with. You're developing a friendship, or you know, it could be as much as a parent, or I mean, it's any kind of, really any kind of love. But I think that they've been on your mind, but it doesn't seem to be in any way that is like problematic. I don't see any kind of issues going on. Just kind of a tenderness, really, and you know, happy to be, you know, when they come into your mind, it's happy to indulge in those the thoughts that you have of them. Okay, sometimes it's nice to just swim in some of the little memories and impressions that we have of people, right? And it just kind of makes you smile and go about your day. Okay, and that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting with this one. And I just want to kind of rotate this a little higher. I see an L. Okay, and this is just right in that mental, emotional, psychic space, but it's touching the rim of the more metaphysical, spiritual, higher consciousness. So this is maybe the name of a person, or like an archetype, personal deity, guardian, somebody who has passed. I think that this person, whoever they are, or whatever the intelligence is, I think that they have a connection to this larger formation over here. But I feel like it's kind of the sense of there's going to be kind of some clear messaging coming through for you pretty soon, if it hasn't already. And I want to turn this over here and kind of look at why that would be. So here we have this beautiful, it's a deer, and here's the body, the legs, we have the head, and we have the antlers right here. And so what is so special about this large, gorgeous formation, this deer that we have, kind of taking up almost the whole central part of this cup? Well, the deer is always a beautiful, beautiful animal to have as in any kind of divination or visions or spiritual work, in my opinion. Okay. And I'm relating this so much to the magical deer of Castaneda. If you are familiar with Castaneda, I've recently been reading and listening to some of Castaneda's books, but one of the concepts that's really stood out to me is this magical deer, which we know in other cultures is also usually very much related to a messenger, a psychopomp, which is a being that will arrive at your death and bring you into the underworld, usually to guide you to a place of judgment, or help you cross, lands that are not easy to get through unless you have a guide, and this kind of thing, to get you to where you need to go, to the next place, okay? And other than that, it's just the concept, especially of the stag, is very much of fertility, of this beautiful natural consciousness, of something very alive, virile, full of hot blood. One of the most divine energies of the forest, right? Largest, one of the largest mammals of the forest, and also just highly masculine, very much also connected to the more kind of borderland, how do I say this delicately? It's kind of almost within the shadow, okay? Almost within some of those more close to debauchery, but not exactly that. Some kind of distorted, kind of demented, can be violent, wild. You picture kind of, and though when you see a deer, a male deer, when he's shedding his antlers, the kind of velvety stuff is coming off, and it's bloody and it's hanging, and it looks like, he's been in quite a war. And that's not necessarily, they haven't been fighting, but they're shedding, and it's a very almost grotesque image, right? And so there's this kind of beautiful balance of that renewal, rebirth, full of life and body, but also very grotesque and kind of, almost scary, off-putting. The other imagery that you could think of is, two deer kind of coming together, ramming their horns. Sometimes they get so interlocked that they can't get away from each other. They end up, maybe one will die. The other one will kind of carry around part of the carcass of the other one, or they both will die in their, in this kind of ordeal that they've created for themselves. They both get locked into it, and, they both perish. Okay, so there's a lot behind this. There's a lot going into this. So I want to also mention that, the deer is also related to Mercury in some mythology. So Mercury is also Hermes, and this is the messenger of the gods, right? So I really think that there is quite a movement towards revelation in your life for you. Okay, I think the divine is really speaking to you. I think that you're feeling, I feel like there's an aspect of inspiration, but this is kind of like the beginning stages of that. This is kind of the foreshadowing of the collection of signs, symbols, omens, kind of, you know. This is more of things shifting, like you're starting to feel the presence of something. There's something a little bit turned to the side, right? It's almost that feeling where you start to feel like something is watching you, or, you know, almost like something has come into the room. You know, the air has kind of left the room, or the air becomes heavier, and you don't exactly know what that is. Because there's nobody else has come in, right? So I think that you really have to kind of, I think, try to get yourself into a posture of being receptive, keeping your eyes open, looking for some of those synchronicities, those reoccurring kind of themes, tropes, symbols, letters, words, whatever. Okay, I think also there is an aspect of, and this is really always so interesting to me, that sometimes these messages step into our lives through the people that we know and love, right? And it's not that they're bringing you a message, you know, directly, but it's almost like sometimes people become conduits in our lives, right? And so you could be having a conversation, they're totally not even aware that you, you know, are receiving whatever they're saying in differently, or what they're saying has anything to do with, you know, beyond the like mundane conversation you're having, okay? But within those conversations, it might hit on themes that you have been witnessing in other places. You might, you know, sometimes it's odd. Sometimes you can have, and again, I always want to be kind of delicate about this, but sometimes you can have people in your life who, especially if they're in moments of like altered consciousness, so if they've been drinking or, you know, something like that, they haven't been sleeping enough, or, you know, just their mental state is altered in some other way, it's something to do with health or whatever. You know, they might talk to you about things that are just so out of character. They make no sense. So why are they talking about these things? These are not, never known you to be interested in this. I'd never known you to know anything about these topics or whatever. And then that message is received by you, and you go back to talk to the person about it in a few days, and they don't remember at all, right? And I feel like you, part of this is because I see you right next to it. It kind of looks like a person standing, witnessing this sacred deer or this magical deer. And so I think that, you know, this to me represents you. Totally. So I think that in some ways, maybe more than one, you will be having an interaction with this kind of magical entity that will come into your life. And I'm trying to think of more, and they're not necessarily rational, but more practical and rational ways that these occurrences could happen. Because let's face it, it's not often that, unless you do a lot of, you know, vision work, visualizations, maybe some ceremonial magic, or, you know, whatever other kind of esoteric rituals you could use to, you know, set up everything to allow you to actually witness some kind of manifestation of like an entity or, you know, whatever, a spirit or, you know, something that is very physical, tactile, or, you know, that you can witness with your eyes. Okay. The other thing that, you know, you should look out for, I think, is your dreams. For sure. For me, that's where almost all the things happen. And then, you know, throughout my waking life, I will have certain indicators that kind of are like little nods and you know, they kind of verify the dream work in some way. Okay. So I think that this is really going to be like such an important part of these next couple weeks for you. I really see that, and I want to talk about this card here in a second, but I really see that there's some important messaging coming through. I wanted to point out that there is a formation that looks like a cardinal here. And for me, the cardinal almost always in my readings or in any kind of physical life, if I see a cardinal in a place that I don't usually see a cardinal, like I have a pair, we have a pair that comes to our backyard almost every day, so they don't always count, right? But like if I'm out somewhere and I see one and it feels very meaningful, the cardinal in my estimation is related to a past loved one, friend, family member, you know, somebody that maybe, you know, a beloved or something that is visiting you. Okay. So in relation to this reading, I think that this person's either going to be part of the message, as far as like you will witness the message being, you know, they will bring it to you like in your dreams or through somebody kind of talking about them with you. Or maybe you find like, you know, I don't know, an old letter they wrote you or something, or, you know, something like that. Or it could be that this message, I'm sorry, it's loud outside. I think the ice is breaking up out there. Anyways, it sounded very loud. I don't know if you guys could hear that. But also, it could either be coming through you interacting with them, like in a dream, right? Or this could be about them. This could be a message that is about that person. And that could bring some kind of clarity or some amount of, you know, just feeling better. I don't, you know, sometimes when somebody's passed, there are a lot of unresolved issues, you know, within ourselves and in relation to them. I also want to point out, and I'm sorry, this with my new lights, these bowls start to dry out so quick. I have this one here and it looks like a hand with a peace symbol. So I really do think that there's this underlying tone of wanting peace, you know, seeking peace, looking for peace, and peace arriving. Okay. I wanted to point this out up here. And now, to me, this looks like one of those ribbons. And I know that they, depending on the color, it's related to all kinds of different, you know, different kinds of awareness or nonprofits or whatever. But whenever I see a ribbon like this, it makes me think of the pink, or I don't know what, are they always pink if it's Cancer? I think that's just breast cancer, or Cancer related to like the feminine. But anyways, this looks like a Cancer ribbon to me. Okay. So I think that that all this that's going on, I feel like maybe this has to do with somebody in your life who maybe passed of cancer. Okay, and I think that this is really coming up, and it could be the time of year. It could be that you know, it's been recent, or it's an anniversary, or that just this energy is coming into your life and you're becoming aware of it. It's becoming very apparent to you that something important is related to this person, or within maybe your spiritual work, your interior work. You need to work through some blockages you have with this situation. And that could be that somebody died abruptly of cancer, or the process of them having cancer was very traumatic for you. And that would make sense. Okay. Let's see. Now we have the Princess of Cups. And for me, related to this beautiful deer especially, I feel like this is very much about you speaking to the universe and the universe speaking to you. There's this sense that you want to do the work so that you may feel more whole, so that you may feel more connected to the purest essence of spirit, of the spirit world, of that interior landscape. Almost the sense of wanting to return back to that kind of home. Okay, I kind of almost think of this in my head, that you've gone through some things that make you feel like you don't have a physical home to, that's not what I mean. Okay. You don't, it's like when you get older, right? And you want to go home to the home maybe you grew up in, or you want to go back to your family where you feel at home. But sometimes when you actually do that, maybe you've moved away. Maybe, you haven't, you know, been close to your family in some time, and you have this kind of nostalgic yearning to return to the feeling that you had when you were safe, when you were close, when you, you know, still had the innocence of being young, and you want to return to that home feeling. But when you do that, you get there and that feeling is just not there. And you might realize that that feeling of home has very little to do with the actual home you grew up in. It has sometimes less to do with your actual family, but more about just how you experience the world, this, you know, the state of your spirit, the state of your world experience, how you perceive the world. Okay, and this ties back into that concept of the magical deer. Okay, or the idea of receiving a message or connection with a spirit guide, with the spiritual world, some kind of divine entity kind of bridging you with that place inside, or that place that, you know, that place without suffering, that place without judgment, that place without the corporeal form, which is part of that suffering, the flesh, right? And to do that, having to really come back into balance with nature, nature of self. And so I think that, and I'm thinking of this concept of you have to come back to the Tao, right? So you have to be, you have to not really change the things that you do, although to some degree that, you know, of course you have to feel well, uphold the things in your mundane life to be able to work on the spirit. You have to have a place that you can rest your head, food to eat, sustenance, right? All of these things, water to drink, so that your body is working, okay? So that you can lower your stress, so that you can feel that you have enough room, that you're out of survival mode, so that you can really look into these kind of interior things, right? So, you have to do all of this so that you are able to really receive you know, the messages of spirit, and to really take them into yourself, to really dwell in them. And, you know, all of this, I think sometimes it's easier to experience get the tools that we need so that we can do this work when it comes in a narrative, when it comes from messaging from people and things that we are familiar with. So I think that it makes sense that somebody, one of your ancestors, one of your family, one of your loved ones who has moved on would come to you to help you kind of move past some of these like anchors that you have, some of these blockages that you have, okay? But part of it is really about also doing the work to alter your perception, okay, so that you can receive these messages. And I know I've been talking kind of like here and there and in circles and using all these different kinds of terms. So what it really comes down to really is that you have to, hopefully, I'm not saying you have to do anything, but hopefully what you are able to do is to, you know, have the eyes to see, have the ears to listen, okay, to be able to receive. And, you know, and I think a big part of it, I see this a lot within the occult world, within people who are practicing different kinds of magic or, you know, esoteric stuff or whatever. There are these real deep, like, wants for big results, you know, very, like, over the top kind of visual, all sense-based kind of, it's almost like they're looking for magic tricks to happen or something, you know, like we're doing these rituals and this ceremonial work and stuff so that we can see and feel and taste and hear and, you know, lay with these entities or these beings or these, you know, thought forms that we experience in the material world. And that's all good and fine, whatever. I mean, you can spend many lifetimes doing that stuff, but, or at least chasing it. But so much of the work, in my opinion, is about having reasonable goals, understandings. You know, if you're not experiencing the things that you want to in the physical world, you have to really develop that interior landscape, those laboratories within yourself, you know, do the rituals in those spaces and learn to bridge that stuff over into the material world. And then it will arrive to you, but maybe not as you thought it would. Right? So you have to look for these things in more subtle ways because they're not going to show up, you know, like I think of like some kind of big parade of, you know, just crazy surreal stuff. If that's what you know, if you're really looking for that, maybe, you know, there are plant medicines that probably could help with that. But anyways, so I really think that you have this message coming for you. I think it's important. I feel really that something that will help you verify that you're on the right path here with this is that I really feel like this has to do with somebody who had cancer. So maybe look for that. Look for those markers to kind of, you know, okay, this is the reading that was for me. This is speaking to me. Now, I also want to look at this kind of, what is that called? The Big Dipper, Little Dipper. Okay, and for me, I don't know the mythology of that constellation. I have no idea. I'm going to go look at both of them when I'm done. But for me, when I saw this symbol, what it made me think of is when I, you know, at the end of my long day, I get the garbage together, I go outside, I take it out to the dumpster, garbage can outside, And so often it's quiet, nobody else is around, my family's inside getting ready to get into bed, and I just take a really deep breath and I look up in the sky, and if it's not cloudy, I can see a million stars up there. And you know, I cannot identify very many constellations, but I can see the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. And so when I see those, it's so much like all the stresses of the day have been lifted off of me, especially during the winter because we're inside a lot. And as some of you may know, I have a toddler and I'm a stay-at-home parent, and we all, you know, we all work from home here. So, we're all together all the time in this house, and we're very blessed for that. But also, by the end of the day, sometimes I just really need a moment to be alone and to breathe and to look up at the sky and know that there's so much more than my little problems of the day, right? These are just little momentary things, and all of that weight is just lifted from me. And so while I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that this is part of that message that's coming through to you, is that, you know, it's important for you to breathe, Cancer. It's important for you to take the time for yourself. Your peoples, you Cancer peoples, have a tendency to really just carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, but also so quietly you do the work diligently. And especially if you have a family, and you know, if my husband's watching this, he is a Cancer, so this is low-key a message for you. You know, it's okay to take time for yourself and take a break, and you know, just find those things that help you get all those stresses off, even if it's for a moment. So if that's meditation, that's going outside and looking at the sky, you know, going to I just thought of going to one of those sensory tank things, you know, whatever it is, mowing the lawn, running, whatever gets you out of your head, gets you out of your troubles, gets you out of your responsibilities for a little while, then you need to do that as well. And I think that's part of that message, that, you know, relating the spiritual together with the physical world. And that's so much what this card's about, this desire to manifest those things within each other, unite them, really creating the fullness of the universe in our lives, okay? And, you know, you got to do what you got to do. You have to sometimes just, you know, do what you have to for yourself. And, let's see. Oh, well, I'm not going to go all the way back to that, but I do want to mention it. I do. Because, okay, so in the story of Castaneda, talking about Don Juan meeting with the magical deer, right? Okay, and this was what I was going to begin with, but I got off. The deer, Don Juan knows, the deer is scared of people, right? Because of the hunters. The deer is also smart enough to know how hunters operate, how they are hunted by the hunters. So what Don Juan does is he stands on his head and he starts weeping, crying out. And the deer is like perplexed by this. He doesn't know what this dude is doing. So he goes to Don Juan and he starts to, you know, get closer, kind of witnessing this like behavior, this weird behavior of this human. And So then Don Juan says to the deer when he's close enough, like, I mean you no harm. I just want to, you know, commune with you. And so the deer then starts to console Don Juan, right? And so then they become close enough so that they can start to have this, you know, this divine connection. And it's so much about doing the opposite of what we think we have to or we should do, okay? Breaking the routine of the things that we think that we, the ways that we must act, okay? The social mores, the conditionings, the, you know, all of these people that we play in our own lives, right? Breaking that up sometimes, departing from that to some degree so that we can create the room so that we can commune with the divine, so that there are cracks in our facade, in our persona, in our masking, so that the divine can slip in, right? And that creates a space that we need so that we can receive these messages, we can ponder them, we can commune, we can contemplate, we can put to use and, you know, implement into our existence. Okay. And so that was the message to you, what I was trying to get to, and I totally got off track with that. Okay. And so I want to look at this, and I just want to say there's a lot of tea, a lot of water. I think there's a lot of emotional stuff happening. You're emotional. And I think it's just so important to figure out how to let some of that out. Okay. And, you know, dealing with a Cancer, you know, don't let yourself explode. Don't fly off the handle. You know, don't sink into the depths, okay? So find a controlled way to let some of these emotions out. Again, this could be these meditations, exercise, writing, creating, so on, communing with other people, dancing, whatever it is. Move your body, talk, do things that you love. Do some of that distractive stuff if you need to. Okay. And I think that, you know, it looks like you have a pretty good line going. I think it's going to be good and progressive. I think that, you know, it's just all about allowing yourself to experience some of this stuff. Okay. And it will be ongoing. And I think, you know, because life just gets busy and hectic, you know, you just hold on to the stuff that really is going to help change some of the things that are uncomfortable in your life. And other than that, you know, journal some of the other stuff and let go of the rest. And that's really the best you can do. But I don't think that there's anything truly terribly happening. But I feel like you're going through an emotional period. Okay. And I think that, you know, this is part of why this is even happening in the first place. Okay, why these messages are coming through. Why this is a time for you to be receptive and receiving them. Okay. All right, Cancer, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for spending some time with me. I'm always so honored to bring you these messages. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me to get into the algorithm and more people can see my videos, and that would be awesome. Other than that, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please think about doing so. You can hit the little bell button thing, and that will bring you notifications for the videos that come out. The next Cancer video will be in about 12 days. And in the meantime, you can watch your other placements. Let's see. Oh, yes. Please leave a comment. I love hearing from each and every one of you. It makes my day. And you are also so wonderful. So thank you. We will see you again soon.